Elon Musk's feed on X, well, it's a constant storm, right? It's all news, memes, and a ton of controversy. But what does a single day actually tell us about him? We decided to find out. We took one 24-hour period, put it under a microscope, and tried to find the method in all the madness.
So, let's set the scene. The day is April 23rd, 2026. In that one 24-hour window, Musk posted or reposted a staggering 43 times. Think about that. That's almost 2 posts every single hour. So what on earth was he talking about?
Well, when you break it all down, his activity really falls into 3 big buckets. A massive chunk of his day, as you can see, was completely taken over by this firestorm around the Southern Poverty Law Center, or SPLC. The rest was pretty much split between his usual business and tech interests, and then just a whole range of commentary on world events. We're going to start with the stuff you'd expect, his companies.
All right, first up, let's look at what you might call business as usual. This is the bread and butter stuff, right? The updates on Tesla, SpaceX, and of course, his thoughts on the crazy, fast-moving world of AI.
So on the Tesla front, it was a pretty standard mix of corporate news and just, reinforcing the brand. He dropped the Q1 shareholder letter, he announced a new version of full self-driving was rolling out, and then he tied it all together with a nod to Earth Day. He pointed out this major solar power milestone from the year before, which is just a classic move to remind everyone about Tesla's green mission.
And over at SpaceX, pretty much business as usual. Another successful launch, another 24 Starlink satellites shot up into orbit from California. I mean, these launches feel almost routine now, but every single one is another step in building out that global internet network he's planning. It's a huge piece of his long-term game. But then you get Musk's more cryptic side. He dips his toes into the wider tech world with these really short but telling reactions. Like, he gives a super rare compliment to Google, calling their tensor processing units, their TPUs, underrated. But then, when he's faced with these really tricky AI issues, like an AI just making stuff up in a legal case, all you get is a simple, It's classic Musk. He's raising a flag, but he's not showing you his full hand.
Okay, now we need to talk about the main event. This is the topic that took up almost half of his entire day online, the SPLC firestorm. And this wasn't just a one-off post. No, this was a sustained all-day campaign against one specific organization.
So who or what is the SPLC? For anyone who doesn't know, the Southern Poverty Law Center is an organization and their official mission is to fight hate, poverty, and racism. For decades, they've been really well known for tracking hate groups all across the U.S. This whole firestorm kicked off with an absolutely explosive allegation, one that Musk shared over and over again. The claim, which apparently came from a Department of Justice indictment, was that the SPLC had secretly paid one of the organizers of that infamous 2017 Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville. And this just perfectly lays out the massive conflict here. On one side, you have the SPLC's public mission, fighting hate groups. And on the other side, you have these incredibly specific allegations that they funneled $70,000 to the leader of the American Nazi Party, and that their own revenue tripled right after the very rally they were accused of helping to fund.
And Musk's attack on the SPLC wasn't just about what they did, it was also about their money. He really pushed this narrative that focused on the organization's immense wealth, hammering home the claim that they were sitting on over $822 million in cash, with a bunch of it supposedly hidden away in offshore accounts.
So when presented with all these financial details, how did Musk react? Well, it was swift and it was severe. He didn't just share the info. He added his own 2-word legal bombshell of an interpretation: money laundering.
And he was not done. Throughout the day, his posts just kept building and building until he arrived at his final, absolutely damning verdict on the entire organization.
And from that conclusion, he issued an equally direct call to action, which he then blasted out for his millions of followers to see. Shut it down.
Okay, so beyond that massive firestorm, Musk's feed was just a total whirlwind of other topics. So let's do a quick, rapid-fire look at some of his other commentary from the day.
Politically, he was all over the place. On U.S. policy, he agreed with calls to change the filibuster in the Senate. He dove right into hot-button issues like immigration, boosting claims about nonprofits in California, and reposting concerns about low birth rates in the U.S. And on the world stage, just as direct. He commented on European migration and flat out said the war in Ukraine needs to stop.
He also decided to jump headfirst into the culture wars, weighing in on a post that was tearing into a recent Calvin Klein ad.
And what was his take? Just one word: bullseye. And with that, he made it crystal clear he agreed with the criticism that the ad was promoting ugliness, gluttony, and vulgarity. He planted his flag firmly in the middle of a huge cultural debate.
Now, this next one was maybe one of the most controversial things he shared all day. It was about gender and political divides. He reposted this argument, which came with data charts, claiming that male political views have basically stayed the same, while female views have shifted way to the left, leading to this really provocative conclusion that female radicalization is the real problem. But in the middle of all that controversy, Musk also made sure to highlight a huge endorsement he got from tech billionaire Michael Dell. Dell was praising him for creating this global town square for free speech, basically framing everything Musk does as essential for getting important and maybe suppressed information out into the open.
So, after 43 posts in 24 hours, where does that leave us? The big takeaway here isn't really a neat and tidy answer. It's actually a really probing question, one that Musk himself amplified. After spending a whole day going after one powerful nonprofit, he left his millions of followers with this lingering thought. Which other organizations out there might be operating like this? And who's footing the bill?